Good morning. Heading down to the garden today after not checking it all weekend. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot going on down here. I'm really not wanting to get too involved today. I don't want to work on anything really. I was going to save that for tomorrow, but as soon as I walked in, I saw a tomato that needed to be restaked. So I'm gonna see how bad it is. Maybe I can put it off to tomorrow. I did see lots of cucumbers. Came to get my cutters because I saw okra, and I learned this weekend that you can't just pull okra off the vine. It will destroy the vine, or the plant rather, and it's really hard to get off. So definitely need a pair of cutters. But I'm gonna get out here and just see if I can just harvest and not work. Fingers crossed. So weeding really needs to take place, as you can see, and we'll try to do that tomorrow. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I pulled several onions this week, and we're curing them just to see if we can harden them up a little bit. They were a little mushy from all the soaking rain that we've had. I do see some cucumbers that I need to grab this morning. Oh yeah, lots of cucumbers. We'll observe first, and then we'll pick. I really don't want to have to harvest green beans today. I mean, you guys can see it's just taken over. And really, there's very little weeding you can do at this point. It's the price I pay for having a small space, but at least it's producing, and that's a good thing. So hopefully I can wait on beans till tomorrow. Corn, we checked the corn this weekend, and it's still... Oh, there's something on that one. Ugh. Yeah, it didn't look like it was ready, but we might have to go ahead and get them, or the bugs are just going to destroy them. I have a couple down here that I'm going to pick. These are our first tomatoes that are ripe. I see a couple more that are starting to turn. Nothing too major. I do need to figure out how to get these off the ground without breaking the stem. They've gotten very heavy, and they're pulling this plant down. And I've got to figure out how to rig that up. 'Tis the season for rigging. You know, we're so far into it now that really you just try to help the plants along the best that you can. There's one. These beautiful flowers. I love these zinnias in here. So pretty. And then this big one, hopefully it'll be ready soon. Okay, so a temporary solution, but they're off the ground for now, and that makes me happy. All right, so you can see we pulled some tomatoes. We had more than one that was ripe, so happy about that. I'm going to put those to good use this week. Definitely not enough to make, to start making pizza sauce and salsa and the things that I really want to can, because we are getting low on pizza sauce. We have a little bit more salsa from last year, but we go through pizza sauce in this house, so want to definitely have enough to can those. I got some more okra for dinner tonight. So yummy. Last week when I fixed it, and I did a little YouTube short on that, so you have to go check that out if you're interested in how I fix that. I did go ahead and grab a couple of corn. I will leave the rest in there till Wednesday. When my husband is here, we'll get out in the garden, but I really don't like to puncture the corn too much. I just want you to see how you know when it's ready. So if you push on a kernel and you get a milky substance, which I did that out there in the garden, you know it's ready. It's hard for the camera to pick that up. But anyway, definitely milky. I don't know if you can see that or not. So that's how we know it's good. Oh, and of course, I pulled a few more cucumbers. They are starting to slow down a bit, and that is a good sign. That means that the cucumber season is coming to an end, which I need it to, because my sweet potatoes are taking off and they need room to spread out and grow. So if we can wrap up the cucumber season, and we get over 100 pounds of cucumbers a year. And we've canned pickles, and we've canned pickles, and we're probably going to can pickles again, and we've ate cucumbers, and we shared cucumbers. So we've had a good season. Okay, so it's Monday morning. You saw what we just got out of the garden. And I've got peppers that I washed. I washed the tomatoes over there. I got them ripening up a little bit more in the windowsill. So I was just trying to think of what I could do tonight for dinner that might be a little bit on the easy side that I could film for you. That would complement our corn, because I think I'll go ahead and cook up these 2 ears of corn, providing they look good on the inside. And I'll just cut them in half. So we'll have like little mini corn cobs. But I'm going to fix a barbecue chicken in the crock pot. And one thing I really like to do in the summer is I don't like to heat my oven up, because right now we are in the upper 90s. The highs for this week are gonna be 99, close to 100. So I really don't like using the oven in the summer unless I absolutely have to. So I thought I would just pull the crock pot out and do an easy dinner for you, that hopefully you can make this at home without any trouble. Now, I've got some frozen chicken here that I'm just gonna put maybe like 5 or 6 chicken breasts in the crock pot. I'm going to season them, go ahead and get them cooking a little bit, and then in a little while, I will add in, wait for it, just some Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce. Oh, couldn't get any easier than that, could it? I almost thought I was gonna have to pull out my own ingredients and make, we call it the Loveless barbecue sauce. My husband made it, I guess, a couple of years ago to go with pork that he smoked in the smoker. And it was so good. So we kept our recipe, we got it written down somewhere. And I thought I was gonna have to break out the homemade Loveless barbecue sauce, but I found a little bit of this left in the refrigerator, which is gonna save me some time. So we're gonna do barbecue chicken. And then we'll have our corn. Oh, I've got green beans that I cooked a few days ago that I cannot wait to eat again. They're in the refrigerator, so we'll heat those back up. And then I thought I found this zucchini and squash for casserole that I cut up and froze last year. It's got a little bit of freezer burn on there, but I think it'll be okay. We'll get it rinsed off and get that in it's a Copycat recipe from a restaurant. For some reason, I cannot think of Bob Evans. Yes, Bob Evans squash and zucchini bake. It's a Copycat recipe, and it is delicious. I made it last year. We got together with some friends last summer, and I made it, and it was a big hit. So I think I'm gonna do that. All right. We'll see how. These are rather large chicken breasts, so we might not do 5 or 6. I think I'm going to do maybe, I think 4 is all we need. Those are rather large. And they are frozen, but that's okay. They'll go ahead and cook. So we'll get that going. We'll cook it on low for, I'm gonna go 7 hours. And then in a couple of hours, we'll go ahead and put that barbecue sauce on there, and it'll be good to go. I just forgot, we're gonna go ahead and season this chicken with the kicked up chicken seasoning. Now pick this up, I think at Aldi. Get that seasoned really well. Get it cooking, and it's frozen, so all that melting will add a little liquid. When it thaws, it'll add liquid to our pot, and we'll see how it looks in a couple hours. I'll go ahead and cut the ends off this. I thought we would do it outside, just in case we get some critters. Oh yeah, see, there's a critter. Good old silkworm. I love them. Oh, but that looks good in there, y'all. Yay. Last year we had, oh, well, there's some spots on this side. Oh, well, you just never know. It looks good on one side. But then you turn it over and it's like, uh-oh, what happened over here? Oh, that's disappointing. Well, let's see what the other one looks like. All right, that one's the same. Oh. Well, last year we pulled them too early, and this year we've got some Not even corn. I don't know what that means. Y'all are going to have to tell me what that means. I'm going to have to do some research and see why it looks good on one side but not the other. Why did it not develop over here? So we'll have to do some research on that and find out. Oh well, maybe the next batch will look better. Okay, so I did a little research and it's what I thought. The reason it produced and looked so good on this side but not on this side is due to pollination. And I knew I had that problem last year, so I tried to pollinate myself by, you know, shaking the corn a little bit when it starts to get the tassels at the top to kind of like pollinate the other plants. Now this should be done, the wind should do it. So I don't know what happened, but anyway, I guess we'll just take this side off. We can freeze it or cook it up. But you see, I left some of that on the board so you can see that milky consistency. So we know the corn is ready and should be really good. It's just only on one side. Anyway, live and learn, try harder next year, and maybe, just maybe, the rest will get pollinated and we'll still get a good crop. Well, y'all, I guess we'll have to rock, paper, scissors to see who gets corn for dinner. No, I'm just kidding. I've got some in the freezer that I'm going to add to this, and we'll just pretend like we did a good job growing corn and we got a lot for a meal. Okay, so here's the deal. I was not satisfied with the corn in the freezer because I just don't know what the consistency will be thawing it like that and then trying to get it off the cob. I think I'd rather just cook it on the cob with it frozen. And I tasted one of those pieces of corn that we picked this morning. Oh my gosh, so good. So I have decided I will not be defeated on this project, and I'm down in the garden and I'm going to find another ear of corn, and we're going to pick it and we're going to add it to tonight's supper. And even if it's just half the side, I think we'll have enough. But hopefully it will have produced a whole ear of corn. So I'm looking to see, oh, I think I see one. All right, let me flip you back around. I think this is the one I want right here. Oh, it feels nice and full. Let's see if I can do it with one hand. All right, maybe I have to put the camera down. Okay, y'all, winner, corn for dinner, we hope. Let me just look and see if there's anything else I need to get out that maybe I missed. Well, since we're back here, I wanted you to see our summer squash that we started like super late. Has some blooms on it. So hopefully not too long we will have, I don't see any squash forming yet, but maybe we'll have some. Okay, the moment of truth. Taking you along to see. Oh, I didn't bring my knife out here. I mean, this one is tucked in tight. Well, I'm so disappointed. Pretty sad. Dud. Well, at least we have consistency. So we'll get all that scraped off, and that's gonna make a good dinner. I'm gonna saute this up and we can add it with those fresh green beans, and that'll be just fine. But not what I wanted, you know. I'm gonna try to just take the positive, not be too disappointed, because the taste is wonderful, and so that's a win, if nothing else. Okay, our chicken's been cooking for a couple hours, so we're gonna go ahead and add the barbecue sauce. Ah, I caught you. Somebody's taking my cheese. We're gonna go ahead and make the Boston Market Squash Casserole Copycat. So I told you all wrong earlier, it was not Bob Evans, it's Boston Market. And I've never had the Boston Market Squash Casserole, so if you have, you'll have to tell me if you make this, if it is comparable to that one. A while back, I wanted a good squash casserole recipe, or actually not just a squash casserole, but one that I could use the zucchini and the yellow squash together. And so this is what I found, and I copied it, and I was looking at it this morning to see if I can give a reference to somebody, and I don't see where I got it from. So somewhere on the internet, I found this recipe, but I will link it in the comments, or not in the comments, I'll link it in the description box below. But what you'll need to get started is you'll need a box of Jiffy Corn Muffin Mix. And this is the 8.5 ounce box. And then you'll need a couple of chicken bouillon cubes, some minced garlic. We're gonna go ahead and use our jarred garlic. We won't mince any fresh. And then I'm gonna use Himalayan salt, but you can use regular salt, pepper, parsley flakes. I'm gonna use, it said to use thyme. I'm gonna use the fresh thyme that I've got. And then you need a 1/3 cup of butter and then some cubed cheddar cheese. Also, of course, you'll need your squash and zucchini, which I have cooking over here on the stove. This is about 8 to 9 cups, 4 to 4.5 cups a piece of yellow squash and zucchini. So you get that cooking on the stove. We're gonna get that boiling and let it cook for a little while, and then we're going to drain off the liquid, but we're going to keep a cup of liquid to use in our casserole. So while we're waiting on that to cook, I already prepared the corn muffin mix, and that's what you do. You just prepare the box mix like it says on the package. I used my little cast iron skillet here, and I went ahead and baked that up. So I'm still letting that cool. We'll crumble that up, then we'll get our casserole assembled. All right, we finished cooking our zucchini and squash, and I've reserved 1 cup of liquid. So I'm gonna drain the rest of the liquid from this, and we're gonna go ahead and get our onions and garlic sauteed. I did fail to mention that there was about 1.5 cups of onions in this recipe, so we'll go ahead and get that going. Okay, in my skillet, I am melting 1/3 cup of butter to get that ready to saute my onions. Go ahead and add our onions. Well, onion peel never hurt anyone. I'm gonna go ahead and cook these until they are translucent. Then we will add in our other seasonings and our squash and zucchini. To our onions, we're gonna go ahead and add our salt. I'm just gonna eyeball it. Pepper, fresh thyme, and you can use ground thyme also. A bit of ground parsley, or fresh, a little bit of dried parsley. Smells amazing in here. Next, we're going to add in our chicken bouillon cubes and then our teaspoon of minced garlic. All right, these cubes are starting to break down. Already drained zucchini and squash, this mixture. I'm gonna let this mix together for a little bit. And typically you add your cheese and your crumbled cornbread to this mixture before putting it in your 9 by 13 buttered casserole dish. But don't think that this skillet is big enough for all that. So I'm going to transfer this to a bowl before I do that next step. One trick I like to do when I'm greasing a casserole dish is if I have used butter in a recipe and I have the wrapper left, that's what I use to grease my dish. I don't know where I learned that trick, but I do this for every pan, muffin pan. If I ever have one of these left over, we surely don't let it go to waste. Go ahead and add it to the bowl. It smells delicious. And the thing about having this mixture in the freezer, or zucchini and squash, I'm gonna go ahead and add the cheese, is that it will be a little bit dull in color. It won't be that bright yellow and green that you're used to seeing with your fresh garden produce, but it will still taste delicious, and it's a great way to go ahead and use up any that you have in your freezer. Okay, next I'm just gonna break up our cornbread into our bowl there. All crumbled up, and then we're gonna add back in that 1 cup of reserve liquid. All this mixed together, and then we'll get that in our dish. All right, into our 9 by 13 greased casserole dish. We're gonna bake this in the oven, covered, for about 30 minutes. And then we're going to uncover it for the last 20 minutes or so. Total time is somewhere between 50 and 60 minutes, and we're gonna bake that at 350. All right, while our squash bake is in the oven, I am reheating some green beans that I cooked up from the garden the end of last week. Today's Monday, and I have been looking forward to having them. We had a very busy weekend. My daughter turned 17, so we had a birthday party, and then we went out for dinner as a family the next day, and so I am just now getting back to these green beans. So I'm looking forward to heating these up tonight. And then in this pan, we've got some butter melting in the skillet. So I can get my camera back in position. And we're going to saute that corn up that we got out of the garden this morning. I'm excited to try this too. I had a little bit of it earlier, and it was delicious. You try to get as many of those strings off as you can, but sometimes they want to stick around a bit. You may need to add some more butter to that. My favorite way, of course, to eat fresh corn is to mix it with fresh green beans. So that's what I plan to do with mine. Okay, I did add a little bit more butter, and that's my dishwasher in the background if you hear all that racket. I am going to add some seasoning to this, and this is my favorite seasoning from Aldi. It's the garlic and herb salt-free seasoning blend. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that to this. And I'm just gonna let that hang out on the stove until it begins to heat up. I think I first heard this term on the Food Network when things didn't work out. Like they would be making something and the cake would fall apart. They would call it a deconstructed cake. So we're just gonna call this deconstructed corn on the cob. I think that will make me feel better. So we added our butter and we've added our seasoning just like we would a good old-fashioned corn on the cob. And it's going to taste exactly the same. I'm looking forward to this dinner. I did decide to go ahead and skip the okra tonight. I think we're gonna have enough going on, and that will give us something to make for tomorrow night's dinner. I'm already thinking ahead to that. I know I'm gonna be getting some more green beans out of the garden, and then we are planning on going out of town for a few days this week. So I've got to think ahead on that. That's the only thing about heading out of town in the summer is you kind of have to plan ahead with your garden, get someone to water it and look after it, but also to make sure that you've harvested what you need to before you leave. All right, it's starting to cook. I let my husband try some. When he walked in the door from work, he said, "Oh my goodness, that's amazing." Our dinner tonight was absolutely wonderful. It feels so good to be able to eat straight from the garden, and I hope that you will take the time to make this squash and zucchini recipe. I don't think you'll be disappointed. Always remember that even when things don't go like you think they should, and when your corn doesn't come in, you can still make the best of it. Thanks for watching. I hope you'll take the time to give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one, friends. Bye for now.